That is the feast. There is so much on this feast of Saint Martin de Tours of Tours. Born in Hungary in, I believe, 316 and died in 397. Let's see what I can remember. I want to say his mother was, okay, I think they were both pagans. His father was in the Roman army. Toby, come on. Was I don't know, a tribune, maybe? Toby, come. Saint Martin became a catechumen in his early teens, and by 15 or 18 he joined the ceremonial guard to guard the Emperor of Rome, I believe, Rome. He was in the military, but he didn't see battle. He was more for like a bodyguard. He was in the cavalry. He rode horses. Come on, Toby. He was an officer in the cavalry. He was an officer riding horses. Oh my gosh, there's so much stuff with this guy. He at one point there was going to be a battle. So he becomes Christian. He decides he won't fight. So they put him under arrest. And then what are you doing? And then okay, what are you doing? Okay, whatever. They put him under arrest, and then the opposing army sues for peace, whatever that means. And so the battle doesn't go, and they let him loose of his, they relieve him of his duty and allow him to leave the army, so by that point, Constantine had already, presumably, so this is probably around 325 or 24. Constantine, I believe, gets converted in the year 312 and makes Christianity, decriminalizes Christianity in 313, I think, with there's a name of it. Something. Okay, I want to say the word Martin is in it. It's a, whatever you call it. Anyway, he decrees, and so Martin is kicked out of the army, released from the army in Worms, Germany. Somewhere he meets St. Hilary of Poitiers, who's also pretty big. I would call him one of those secondary saints. If you know, you know. If you don't know, you don't. You're not gonna, like everybody knows St. Francis and St. Patrick. Toby, come on! But St. Hilary of Poitiers, he's a bigwig, but like I would call him a B star. He's not an A star like St. Peter or something like that, if that makes sense. Anyway, so he meets St. Hilary. What else happens? Oh my gosh, he's got so much stuff I couldn't even, he goes, so there's like Arians, I think, and he goes to Toby! He goes to an area, he hears that St. Hilary is kicked out of wherever he is by the Arians, so he immediately runs. He's like 45 at this point, I think, in 361. He immediately I think a lot of other stuff so he immediately runs to St. Hilary, but he ends up on some island. He was riding his horse one time, and a beggar came up to him, and he had nothing to give him, so he gave him, he cut his cloak in half and gave it to him, and I think later he had a vision that beggar was Jesus, and that becomes I was going to say this correctly, iconography. Darn it, I had practiced the word. Anyway, it becomes synonymous in art with him. giving a cloak to a beggar. So later in 360, Toby. Later in 361, he's chases after Saint Hilary. He gets to Tours, France, in 371, I believe, and the bishop dies. And in the meanwhile, he goes for 10 years, I think. He became a monk. He become a monk and just prayed. And of course, people came to his holiness. They were drawn to him, and to the point where they had to make a monastery. Toby, come! They had to make a monastery. They made a monastery for him, and all these people that were following and goodness, dog, where are you? So that happens for 10 years. So by 371, he's going through Tours. The bishop dies, and everyone says, "We want you to be the bishop." He refuses and says he's not worthy or something, and he leaves. And then a rich man whose name I forget sends to Martin that his daughter, I think, is sick, and please come and heal. I guess he had healing. He had the gift of healing, maybe, or please come. And he lied in Tours. So he was a rich man in Tours. So Martin comes back to Tours, and the town instantly votes him as the next bishop, and it becomes like a thing. That's something that used to happen a lot in the old days, apparently. The people would recognize the sanctity of someone, the holiness, and so, yeah, they would just. It wasn't like something with the hierarchy of the church. The people would just demand it. Yeah, it's more than once I've read that in Saints' Lives. So anyway, so he stays there. I think he takes up a cell, and he pretty much stays there as a hermit, but he does leave. He tends to his immediate city, and he does leave and go to Germany, I think Germany, to the emperor in Germany a few times to speak up for his people, for the poor people, or for some injustice that was happening. So he does speak for them. And he also, at one point, there was a guy who was unjustly or was condemned, and he goes to the emperor. The emperor, as Martin is coming there, gets a dream from an angel that Martin is coming to visit him, and so he instantly has the prisoner released or whatever, pardons the prisoner. Like I said, he lives to be in his 80s or something. And then there's more. I've missed stuff, and there's another interesting story that I'll convey later. Maybe I'll try to read it straight off. But yeah, Martin de Tours has got there's a lot to this guy. I think I get him confused with Martin de Porres, who is from, I think, black, and I believe was an illegitimate son in Spain, and he ends up in South America and helps the poor, I think, hence the word Porres. Maybe that's the city, but I think yeah. So St. Martin de Tours, pray for St. Martin de Tours, pray for us. Let's ask all the saints to pray for us. And Pope St. Leo the Great, who I want to talk about. He's got a lot, but Martin de Tours was, he had a lot going on. Please pray for the souls in purgatory.